dee do ba 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 do ba dee do.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce you to one of my longtime good friends, Najwa Parkins. Najwa, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I don't even know how to introduce you. You're primarily a vocalist, right? I
Correct.
will say that. You're primarily a vocalist, but you're one of those people who can do everything well and likes to do lots of different things. So,
Thank you.
Can you speak a little bit more about what are the other avenues that you have creative outlets, I guess?
Well, yeah, I'm primarily a vocalist. I played trombone as well all the way through college and beyond. I have, in recent years, mostly focused on vocals, but also creatively, I do some circus arts. I was a gymnast when I was younger, so now I have found my way back to that as an aerialist.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And what type of aerial things
apparatus?
do you do? Yes.
I mostly focus on the lyra, which is also called aerial hoop.
Okay.
And I'll do like static trapeze, and I have done fabric, but I stick to the bars more.
Gotcha. Do you do that professionally?
I wouldn't call it professionally. I do perform with a company called Tangle Movement Arts, which is all female, and so you could call it semi-professional for myself.
Sweet.
There are more professional people in it, but
Gotcha.
music is my profession.
Yeah. Okay, so you also teach.
I do.
Are you technically a professor?
I don't think technically I am adjunct faculty.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I
Two
profess
places,
about
right?
music.
At Moravian and Temple.
Yep.
Awesome. And do you like what do you do there? Or do you run classes? Do you just do private lessons?
So at Temple, I do private lessons. I teach an ensemble, a small ensemble, and I also teach 2 sections of jazz voice for non-majors, which is very interesting. And at Moravian, I teach private lessons and also run a small ensemble.
Okay.
Very cool.
Anything else that we're leaving off the list? You act.
I do. I write.
You write. Yes. You compose.
Yeah.
You improvise. Is there anything musical that you don't do?
Musical that I don't do?
You don't play the tuba, do you?
I do not play the tuba. I did have a foray with euphonium for Tuba Christmas.
Oh,
when we were
yeah.
in high
We played
school.
Tuba Christmas together,
Yeah.
I think. Oh, that was such a magical time.
Yes. So cold.
The first time it clicked was during the performance. Either
Yes.
that or I couldn't hear myself. But, I'm pretty sure I got the right notes. And the first time it happened was in the performance.
Yes.
That was my foray.
So what was the
into
instrumentation
euphonium.
for Tuba Christmas?
It was about
Tuba.
tubas and euphoniums and
A whole bunch.
Like
yeah,
how
about
are we?
a few hundred.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like, where was it?
I thought you meant like caroling with 5.
Oh no,
low
it was
brass
like in
instruments or
New
something.
York in the
And Rockefeller
yeah.
Center on
Oh,
the
wow.
ice.
I'm glad
Okay.
I was like the place that's
Yeah.
on TV a
With the
lot.
big tree. So
Rock.
we went there. I think that was my senior year, your junior year. And that was a blast.
It was.
It was a fun trip. Then, so being someone who does a lot, I have 2 questions to throw at you. You can decide which you want to answer first or ignore them both and talk freely. Number 1, what's your favorite aspect of what you do musically? What's your favorite, what really gets you jazzed? What's the motivation? Jazz is it? Pun intended. No pun intended.
I'm leaving.
But what gets you really excited? And is it the performing aspect of it? Is it composing? Is it specifically improvising? Then my other question is, no, I'll answer that one first.
Okay. I do really love performing. And sometimes that is what gets me jazzed. But other times I just get really excited to write about things that are happening in my life. So, and not necessarily a big event. I'm inspired by nature and stuff like that. Also, if something makes me angry, it's a great avenue to write about it and not make it as angry. Make something beautiful out of it. And I'm not great at piano, so I actually find that a lot of my favorite writing happens when I make a mistake in the voicing I'm trying to play, and I'm like, oh, what was that? Let me do it on purpose now. So
It's nice that jazz is such a forgiving genre. Like
Yeah.
the mistakes lead to better things.
yeah, it's like,
Most of the
oh,
time.
I actually played a cool extension, and now I will do it on purpose.
And figure out what to call it.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Well, or I was
ahead.
wondering, like, could you give an example of one of your pieces or projects where you started in an angry place and then it developed into something? I'd be curious to.
I feel let me see. I feel like a lot of my lyrics aren't necessarily, I shouldn't say angry, but they have a dark quality to them, and I like playing with the darkness in the quality of the lyrics and balancing it out with maybe like something that normally sounds cheerful to people, or not that it would be weighing it down, but I like playing with the contrast on purpose of like, oh, this sounds like very happy, or like this isn't what it's about. But for the people who are actually listening to the story, it's like, okay.
You get a bonus.
Yeah.
Levels.
Yeah.
First up today, to help you get a sense of Najwa's style, we have one of her original compositions called Clouded Dreams. This is off her 2019 album, Najwa Parkins and Friends, Live at the Deerhead, featuring Najwa on vocals, Evan Gregor on bass, Larry McKenna on flute, Skip Wilkins on piano, and Tom Whaley on drums. I really love the sound they got on this record. If you've ever been to a show at the Deerhead, you'll know that it's this really special room where over 100 years of amazing jazz has happened, and you can kind of feel it. If you aren't driving right now, go ahead and close your eyes and let Naj and her friends transport you there.
Stumble through with eyes wide shut, stuck in a day's beautiful haze, rosy vision, nimbus clears, the sun breaks through, song on my lips and dance in my hips, finding freedom. Should I stay or take to the sky? Fly with the birds, break the chains, have a voice, don't fade away. Lived a life of clouded dreams, open my eyes, pleasant surprise, fog was lifting, clouds pass by, the sun still shines, clouds pass by, the sun still shines. stay or take to the sky. Fly with the birds, break the chains, have a voice, don't fade away. Lived a life of clouded dreams. Open my eyes, pleasant surprise. Fog was lifting, clouds pass by, the sun still shines. Clouds pass by, the sun still shines. Clouds pass by, the sun still shines. Clouds pass by, the sun still shines.
Can you talk a little bit about what your compositional process is like? Is it different every time? Do you normally start with lyrics?
I think that it varies a lot for me. Sometimes I'll have lyrics going in my head and I'll sit down and be able to plunk something out like right away. Other times I'll just have a melody in my head and I don't have all the lyrics and I might do them at the same time, like when I eventually sit down. And sometimes I have a set of lyrics I have a notebook of where I write lyrics, and sometimes I'll have a set that I haven't done anything with and that couldn't connect them to anything, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh, you know what? This will actually go together. So I don't know if that actually answers the question, but
Yeah, that absolutely does. I think that's interesting. Like I always ask, I think I ask just about every guest that because it's really interesting. We get a different answer.
Yeah.
Every time. I think I'm similar to you in a way that like it happens differently every time. I'm working on putting together an album right now, and it's I'm doing a kind of hodgepodge process. All these lyrics were just kind of scraps of things that hit my head, and I just put them in my phone. There are some where I have bigger blocks of, I sat down and wrote this as a song. But most of them, I'm just trying to kind of fit together and categorize and then fit the music later. That's the part I'm not worried about. I'm trying to like focus really hard on getting lyrics that are not too cheesy and cohesive and say something, and then I think the music will come after that.
agreed.
That's the part that's usually easier. So then, specifically about, like, I know you said you get inspiration from lots of different things.
Mm-hmm.
How do you choose, I don't know, how do you choose subject matter of what to develop? Is it just like what matches up musically? You have a notebook full of lyrics and you're like, this one really speaks to me, I want to develop this one, or you're just like, oh, this one I have a melody for?
So another aspect of my process is that I like there to be multiple meanings that could be construed out of whatever story I'm telling. So for me, it might have been based in one event that happened, but eventually, there's stuff I've written years ago that now I could apply to other things, but I know what I wrote it about when it happened. Yeah. And I wouldn't tell someone because I want to know, like, well, what do you think it's about? Yeah. But I do, yeah. I'll choose. I'm trying to like actually answer the question in
I think you did. You kind of start specific and then try to make it, broadly applicable to life. That makes sense. Cool. Dave, did you have any questions?
I was kind of curious on what you were just saying there. So is it like a Frankenstein sometimes with your pieces? Like, do you do that a lot, or is it just more of like an occasional thing?
I think it's a lot. I think it started out as just I would be talking about something specific that happened to me or something I was specifically inspired by, and it just happened that, well, somebody else might see it as this or that. But now I feel now that I've seen the pattern myself, I try to make it that way, like intentionally. Like, I'm definitely talking about this, and I know people who have a similar experience will know that I'm talking about this. But there's also other layers, and I could be talking about this, or someone else might be able to relate to it in a way that maybe I didn't think of when I was writing it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. For me, like Sean knows this, lyrics are not my strong suit at
Yeah.
all. So I just find it fascinating. Like, especially it sounds almost like you were doing like word collage, but based on like what's the emotional thread and just pulling from different sources of your own. That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I actually, my master's degree is in like professional writing, not in music. So the
okay.
words, the lyrics as a vocalist are important anyway, but I really like writing.
And for our first track of the session, we decided to write a little jazz progression together for Najwa to improvise over. I plunked my way around some chords on the ukulele, while Dave and Najwa said things like, "Ooh, I like that one," or "Try a minor seventh there instead." And it came together pretty easily. Once we had it written out, Dave hopped on the bass, we hit record, and Najwa spun some pure gold on top of the chords we wrote. What do you do with your professional writing degree?
I mean, I do not have a desk job in that regard, but
Which is a triumph.
yeah, I think it just helps me with the writing that I want to be doing, and then also as a musician, I book things and I have to deal with people, and there are things sometimes that I would like to say to people that I don't, and I find a very professional way of letting them know when they're wrong. But
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, I was just thinking, like, why not creative writing as opposed to... Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. That's a side of things I wish I was better at. I think I'm good at emails, but, like, the professional side of the business is my weak link. Then let's talk a little bit about the albums that you've made. Dave and I were listening to a little bit before you came over. I really love the Live from the Deer Head one that came out this year. It sounds awesome. It's kind of clunky to look on Spotify. Like, it doesn't tell you who wrote the songs. So I know you had some original songs on both of those, both of your albums, but there were some standards on both of those too, right?
Yeah.
Good job, because I can't tell which is which.
Thank you.
So they could all be standards. They should be all standards, in my opinion, at this point. But how do you go about programming something like that and, like, deciding what you want to record when there's thousands of songs that you could choose from that would be appropriate?
Definitely, again, I go back to the story. So a lot of the standards that I choose to sing aren't necessarily very popular ones. Usually, I really like to connect with the lyrics and feel that I could tell a story through what's been told over and over again, but something that is unique to me still. I really like Duke Ellington, and I love the old songwriters because you can hear how they put a specific chord or a specific melody note with a lyric, and, like, you can tell how thought out it was, and like, oh, that flat nine on that chord
that was
really
real deliberate.
like I feel that emotion.
Yeah.
Good job, Duke. I see what the big deal is about, you know? Yeah. So
I get the hype.
yeah.
And what was the process for you? What was the recording process like for you when you did your studio album versus the live album?
Well, with the so the live album was interesting also because it was produced by someone else. So it was very much, there were my arrangements, my originals, but I wasn't necessarily in charge of the whole thing. So that was different.
Was that nice having some direction, or?
We'll have some. Yeah, it was okay.
That answers my question.
Yeah, I didn't get all of the creative liberties like choosing my own band. Like they're great musicians that I played that are on the album that I love playing with, but things like that for my own album that I produced, I put together a band of people that I play with all the time. And so there's a lot of similarities, the rehearsing to make sure when you do it, it's good.
It's going to be tight and
Yeah.
perfect. And yeah.
So-
Was that all in one night?
Yeah, the
all
live
night?
recording was all in one night. There are some things you can go back and do in the studio, but not much. So there's that to be conscious of. But also it's a performance. So if you don't let the recording equipment in the corner distract you, you're always trying to be on your best in a performance.
Yes.
So it's also kind of freeing in that way. When you're in the studio, you're like in your head, like, no, I need to do this again. I need to do this.
Yeah.
I don't like how that note sounded. But in a performance, you're going to listen back
You
and
gotta
not
sell it.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people are there that like it. So
You're getting positive reinforcement in between every song, which is nice.
exactly.
That's great. Well, we'll certainly post a link to places where people can buy those. They're on Spotify as well, which
Yeah.
I know you can make a penny off of. I don't think they've sent me any checks yet, but I think once
We'll
I get to like $20 or something, maybe they will.
Hey-o.
Do you have any funny or interesting performance stories of when things didn't go to plan? Without naming names.
I feel like most of the funny performance stories are just like weird audience members for the most part.
like what brand of weird audience members?
Oh man, there's so many. The person who wants to let you know that they know about music, but like in a very Oh, here's a story. Sorry to go off on a tangent. For example,
Perfect. The more tangents, the fewer questions I have to ask. So that's great.
we're performing at this place in Chestnut Hill, and it's the vibe is like an old jazz club vibe, and some guy comes up to the stage and says to me, "Oh, I'm on a date," an older man, "on a date with this lady. I want to impress her. You think I could sing Mac the Knife?" Like, well, we have a set prepared, and these people came to see us. So,
Yeah.
no.
This is not an open mic.
Yeah,
This is a,
there was.
this is a closed mic.
Yeah, exactly. But he had come up more than once, and I can't remember. I think the first time I tried to just like, and then he came back, and I had to let him.
Yeah.
We have a set, and yeah,
You're not a part of it.
yeah.
Do you ever have the experience? I feel like this happens inevitably at a lot of gigs where, similarly, somebody that's looking to prove that they know a thing, like that's the reason they came up, and so they'll just be like, whatever it is that you're doing, blank. It's not really my cup of tea. I don't really like it much at all. But you are doing a very nice job with that kind of
Yeah. Or people will be like, any Ella? Like, first of all, I'm
Yes,
pretty
I
sure.
do. But
Have you heard of this hot young
Yeah,
artist?
she didn't write these, but also, yes, she sang like everything in the Great American Songbook, and I'm pretty sure I did some of them already. Do you know any, Ella?
Next up, we have one of 2 covers you'll get to hear this episode, and one of the reasons this episode is getting to you so late. Sorry. This one has lots of layers and was truly a labor of love, specifically love for one of Najwa and my closest friends and favorite people, Sara Murray. Sara's father passed away at the end of last year, and we decided to surprise her with a cover of one of her original songs that we used to play in our band Silly Heart. This was always one of my favorites of our originals. It's got a simple message of hope and perseverance, and if you want to hear the original version, you can head to sillyheart.bandcamp.com to do that. It's on the album So Ready. And if you haven't heard Sara's episode yet, definitely check that out. It's one of our most entertaining interviews, and we made 3 full Silly Heart songs on that one. For this track, we recorded vocals, bass, and guitar all together in one take in our session. Then I multi-tracked drums, flute, clarinet, saxophones, and percussion. This is called Change Scares Me, written by and dedicated to Sara Murray.
Took a bunch of pennies to the corn star machine. 'Cause even though you're dressed nice, you aren't really what you seem. Park the car, pick them up, they're heavy on your arms. Tripped, walking through the door, pennies all over the floor. You're gonna be okay, it's just a couple bad days. It's hard to get a grasp on all this change, all this change. It's funny how you feel when you've got everything you wanted, but it's never enough, never enough, is it? Went to school, got the degree, fortune for this piece of paper. Looking in the mirror, still nothing seems clear. You're gonna be okay, it's just a couple bad days. It's hard to get a grasp on all this change, all this change. Gonna be okay, it's just a couple bad days. It's hard to get a grasp on all this change, all this change. It will all pick up, it will all pick up. You can pick it all up. It will all pick up. Pick it up, pick it up.
Now, this might be an odd question, but as a person who scats professionally, what are your thoughts on Scatman John and the song Scatman?
I don't even know this.
Okay, think back to bus rides from the 90s.
Should I put this up?
Yes,
Spotify?
you might as
I'll get
well.
that prepared.
I have a feeling you'll know it when you hear it, but maybe not. He's been trying to make a comeback recently, and he did a remix of Scatman with Lou Bega, the guy who did
my
Mambo number 5, and they did like Scatman and Hatman, and they did,
Oh no.
There we go. This one.
What?
You've really never heard this?
This is yeah.
I feel like I'm
It was
playing
an interesting
DDR.
time musically.
Yeah.
This is the main hook. Yeah, somebody was like, what if we take the charm of Lou Bega, combine that with rave music? Come on, with glow sticks.
My thoughts are that someone who would want to let you know that they know something might strike up a conversation about that.
Well, now you know what to say if someone asks you about if you can do Scatman. Okay. Next time
Thank
someone
you.
yells that out at your show.
Scatman!
Oh man. Okay. Well, that answers my question. Totally off your radar because as it should be. So let's talk a little bit about ska and reggae, because you grew up listening to those as well, but came from a very different inn than me.
Yeah.
So let's talk about first, what do you like better, reggae or ska?
Oh man. I don't think I have a like better.
Good
they're,
answer.
They're different.
They're different.
Yeah.
Good answer. So then my next question is, why do you think reggae is so much more widely accepted and palatable to people than ska? Is it just because ska is a dirty word that has a stigma attached to it from the silly ska in the 90s? Or do you think it's something musically about it that doesn't speak to people in the same way that reggae does?
I think it's probably similar to like the music forms that came out of jazz or the blues are more popular still today. And in Jamaica, my parents are from Jamaica, so they call it ska. So and ska is the precursor. So I feel like maybe also reggae was made to be more danceable, like the slower tempo. So that probably affects it too, like how people were going into the dance hall with that before dance hall music.
Right. That makes sense.
I would attribute it maybe to the danceability, and then also just people being like, oh, that's old school, it's that. But like my father still blasts both forms of music at home, so
Fantastic. What brought your parents to the Poconos?
good question. I always ask
Really?
how people from that climate found their way to the northeastern corner of the United States and also Canada.
Seems like an interesting choice.
But really what brought them to the Poconos was we came from New Jersey and they were working in New York. And a whole bunch of people, I think, were duped into this premise that there was going to be some train or something that would make it easy to get to New York from there, and people wanted to bring their kids to the Poconos because there was cheaper land, there was land, and as we know, North Jersey is very expensive now, and I think it was already then, and not much place for your kids to play. But
Yeah.
so I think the same thing that lured all of those people from New York and New Jersey up there.
Interesting.
In
I
the
don't think
90s.
I've
That
ever
was-
heard
that
that
was-
mystical
no, that was a
promise
big
of the
influx.
train, but that
Yeah.
makes
Oh,
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody from
Never
New York went to the
happened.
Poconos
Spoiler
in the late
alert.
80s, early 90s. There was just a flood that went over there. And
Yeah. My father has been commuting. He's retiring at the end of this week that we're going into next week.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's been driving and taking the bus.
Yeah. They should build a train.
Yeah, they
They should make a
should.
train. That would be really...
Because it's really not that far.
No.
Like, it's just traffic. If a train would have been great,
right.
it would be so
Yeah,
fast.
the distance, if you look at it on a map, is not far at all. And now for something completely different. We had to do at least one weird free atonal one, so here it is. I played flute on this one, Najwa vocalized, and Dave played djembe. Is there a dream project that you have in your mind that you have not realized yet, but that you would like to one day accomplish? What does that look like?
I would I would love to do a circus show, an aerialist show with live music. And also I would love to do kind of like how people do concept albums with videos. I would like to do an album of originals that had different acts, aerialist acts, using my own music.
And you doing the aerial acts?
Not just me. That would be very exhausting, but to do a show. Yeah. So yeah, different people doing acts with my music.
That seems like that can be realized pretty soon. I bet.
That seems like it would be a good candidate for the Fringe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe you need to dream bigger. You need to make that one happen soon. You'll have to think of a new dream. Okay. So then my next question is, I know you are a new mom as well.
True.
Have you found the dream balance between work and music and life and family and all of that kind of thing?
I think I'm getting there. I mean, not to toot my own horn, I feel like I'm doing a good job.
I feel like you've got it all together. You seem like the least frazzled new mom that I've ever met.
Thank you. It's not always together, but I'm finding time to I'm still doing music. I'm teaching. I was telling my mother today, like, I feel like I'm still the same amount of late to things that I was before I had a child, which means that I'm doing something. I didn't compound my lateness. So, yeah, I'm still working on it, but I feel like I'm doing it. I'm
That's
not.
awesome.
I'm
It seems
definitely
like
not composing as much yet, but I'm getting there.
You get some good lyric inspiration out of that kid, huh?
Like I have ideas.
Yeah. Getting experiences to draw on later. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I think that's about all I had to talk about. Or is there a musical high point where everything went right, or some job that you've had that you're particularly proud of, or anything like that?
I just feel like after I finished my master's, I got the teaching job at Temple, and I was doing my circus stuff.
You
I
just like
feel
jumped right in, and
yeah, like I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, and had just spent an exorbitant amount of money on a piece of paper.
Yeah,
like
did
we
you go to
said.
NYU too?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
But yeah.
How many
just-
semesters did you go there?
Oh, 3. I was
Okay,
like
me too.
getting it. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. And did you do it online?
I did.
Is that any cheaper than?
No.
I mean, I guess you don't have to pay for rent in the
exactly.
city.
That
but-
was the only thing cheaper.
Yeah.
Very intense.
Well, have a fun next 25 years or so.
You know it. I'm waiting for somebody to come up with a plan
Yeah.
to this IBR.
Yeah, mine. I don't pay enough to like pay off the interest even. So mine have been growing for the
Yeah.
last 10 years, which is depressing. But
It is.
I hope someone will take care of that.
Just counting on it.
Fingers crossed. Yeah, okay. We're waiting dangerously close to political topics now,
Oh, yes.
which we can get into, but Dave doesn't like that usually.
No, I mean, well, we're all in agreement. So
Yeah, that's
Enough said.
beat a dead horse, but
yeah.
oh, wouldn't that be
I
sad?
feel like that's the one. Oh yeah, that's waiting. If we all agree with each other, then it's not much of a discussion.
There you go.
Yeah, just a frustration session.
Yeah.
An airing
don't
of
understand.
grievances.
Like, don't yell at me. I'm saying the same
Airing
thing.
grievances. We need to save that for the
Festivus.
Festivus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then my last question
Mm-hmm.
is, why did you stop playing the trombone?
Why did I stop playing the trombone? It wasn't like a hard, like, I'm retired from the trombone. I just evolved into focusing on vocals more. I feel like I'm better at singing anyway, and I enjoy it more. I don't think that I'll never play the trombone again. In fact, when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, which I didn't really care about, but I lived in Philadelphia, I took it out. I took it outside as a noisemaker, guys.
Yeah,
I went
there you go.
outside and played the trombone.
Well,
But
there you
no, it's not. There's no hard retirement. It's still there. I'm sure I'll pull it out at some point. Yeah,
Okay.
but singing's my thing.
What about a series of aerial trombone pieces
There you
that
go.
act as lullabies for the new
Ooh.
child? Just tie it all together.
Okay.
You know? It's,
Okay, I like where your head's at.
Yeah. I just thought of another one. No, it's escaped me. Oh, yeah. Do you have any favorite artists that we may not have heard of that you would like to recommend to us and our listeners?
I love Joanna Newsom.
I have heard of her.
Yeah. I also love Leanne LaHavas and Laura Mavula.
I love Laura Mavula.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a new one for me. So let me write
Yes,
that
those
one down.
who
How do I
haven't
spell
heard her before, please check out Laura Mavula.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
MVULA.
Okay. Oh, interesting. All right. What's she like?
Oh, man.
10 words or less. No, I'm kidding.
There's a lot of dissonance. It's she plays the piano, right?
Yeah, keys.
And she has horns, and I don't know. It's just really good. There's like
Do you
the
listen to a lot
rhythms.
of Sing to the Moon? Is that the album?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
It's just really tasty.
Huh?
yeah.
I will check it
It's
out.
like her producer for that album was a former producer for Wham, and somehow combining her songs and his sensibilities, you end up with this album that sounds like a love letter ode to Pet Sounds, like orchestral pop, but with like
awesome
R&B sensibilities and harmonies, like kind of like if Janelle Monáe did a Pet Sounds tribute. It's like this,
okay, sweet.
Yeah,
I've got
amazing album.
All right, and then where can the people find you?
You can find me on the YouTube at najwaparkins.com. Full disclosure, I don't update it much, but I will. Spotify, SoundCloud.
You have any upcoming dates in January or February or anything?
Not yet that are worth mentioning.
Okay.
I have some private stuff, so you don't care about that. But
well, I care that you're working.
My site. Thank you.
I care about your bank account.
Thank
I'm glad you're working.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you again. This was a joy.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So we brought you some ska earlier today. I think it's only appropriate that we leave you with a little bit of its more famous younger sibling, Reggae. This one comes to you care of our friend of the show, past guest and #1 fan, Dan Pardo. He emailed us suggesting that we cover a well-known song in a completely unexpected genre. We brought this assignment up to Naj, and she said, well, I do a reggae cover of Jolene by Dolly Parton. And we were pretty much sold on that immediately, so we just went with it. We recorded again, vocals, bass, and guitar all together in our session. Then I added drums, percussion, keyboard, and banjo ukulele afterwards. I chose instruments that kind of leaned country or folky because I wanted to imagine what Dolly's band would actually sound like had they been given this task. Hope you like it, Dan.
choice of man that I could never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends Jolene, Jolene, I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can.
Thank you so much for listening to Sean and Dave Make Music today. And thanks again to our guest Najwa for being incredible as always. If you like what you heard from her today, please check out her music on iTunes, Spotify, or anywhere else you buy or stream music. You can also go to najwaparkins.com to find out more about her and watch some videos. And if you're local to the Philly area, do yourself a favor and try to catch her performing live. If you particularly liked her ska and reggae stylings on this episode, you should know that she and I have also collaborated on a few other projects that I've released under my own name, Sean Arawjo. She sang 3 tracks on my first album, Constructive Rest, and 2 on my second, Dysania. Those are also available everywhere. Special thanks are also due to Dan Pardo for the cover suggestion. Go back and listen to Dan's episode if you haven't heard that one yet. And if you have Netflix and are a comedy fan, I highly recommend that you watch John Mulaney's new special, John Mulaney and the Sack Lunch Bunch. Dan conducted and music directed it, and it's really brilliantly weird and funny and catchy and all around great. Don't forget to also subscribe to our show and please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to be a part of the fun, let us know what kind of music we should make next time. Email us at seananddaveMakeMusic@gmail.com or send us a message on Facebook or Instagram. Thanks again for listening. See you next month.
Bop, bop, bop.